So today I'm going to explain to you how it is that I use the people in my life to manifest my desired reality. It's the kind of thing that I think it's easier if I just tell you how exactly I'm doing it specifically in my life. And then I think from there, it will make understanding the concept easier. So that's how we're going to start it. So I am happily married with 3 beautiful children. And I have a myriad of things that I'm actively manifesting, right? I'm actively there is a reality that I am actively aligning with energetically, which is just emotionally, right? We already know this. In order to manifest a reality, you have to be the person that belongs in that reality. So if you want to manifest a reality of a winner, well, you must be a winner. And what does it mean to be something? It just means that you believe you are that. It just means that you feel you are that. Because the only difference between the version of yourself that is a winner and the version of yourself that is a loser is the winner believes he's a winner. The loser believes he's a loser. That's why even when winners lose, they don't see themselves as losers. They see themselves as experiencing a learning experience. They see themselves as, oh, I just experienced something out of the ordinary. Even if a winner has a string of losses, they would just see it as them being in a rut. They don't identify as being a loser. A loser, however, does the reverse. Okay, I think you get it now. Anyway, so I'm actively aligning with my desired reality emotionally. I see myself as the person that belongs in the reality that I would like to see reflected in my experience of reality. Well, my wife and I are on the same accord. What do I mean by that? In my desired reality, my wife is at peace. In my desired reality, my wife is at peace. And so I actively interact with my wife in such a way as to encourage peace. And in so doing, understanding that our reality is just a reflection of the energetic / emotional frequency that we are occupying or maintaining most consistently. If I do my part in encouraging an emotional state of peace in my wife, then her reality, her external reality, will reflect that if she's holding it consistently. Well, with me being the main breadwinner of the house, for instance, well, my wife is going to be more at peace if I'm making more money. My wife is going to be more at peace if I'm healthy. My wife is going to be more at peace if I am confident. And so, when opportunities arise where I have the chance to influence how my wife is feeling, when I actively make the decision to interact with her in such a way that encourages her to have an emotional state of peace, happiness, joy, gratitude, any of those emotional frequencies that are in alignment with the reality that I wish to occupy. We're going to the store, baby. I actually am on my way from the trampoline park with my eldest daughter. I just took her there, had a bunch of fun, and now we are on our way to the store. Okay, so check this out. Let's reverse it. If you didn't catch it that time, you're surely going to catch it this time if you have a basic understanding of how manifestation works and the law of assumption works. Let's say you would like to manifest a reality where you are the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, right? Now imagine if all the people in your life were actively behaving in such a way to convince you that you are worthy, that you are good enough, talented enough, skilled enough to be the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. Would that not make it easier to assume the state mentally and emotionally of being the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, even before you've secured the belt? The Bible teaches us this, of course, without the true spiritual esoteric understanding, without actually understanding the metaphysical principles of the world. A lot of it just seems like nice suggestions of ways to behave. The Bible says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It just seems like a nice thing to do, a proper way to behave, a moral way to behave. And on a superficial level, we all understand that when you are nice to somebody, they will typically return that energy to some degree, as opposed to if you are nasty or cruel or mean to someone, typically they will respond accordingly. Everybody understands that superficial interaction. But the underlying spiritual implications is understanding that the emotional frequency that people inhabit most consistently will then be reflected in the reality that they manifest. And so, for instance, let's say my wife does something that I would rather she would have done differently, or that she would have made a different decision. There are all kinds of ways in which I could approach her to discuss that. Oftentimes, what people do, especially what men are encouraged to do in red pill spaces, in traditional masculine spaces, is to berate your wife, to remind her who's boss and make it very clear that you're displeased with her, evoking a sense of guilt and shame. Well, if you do that and you cause her to stay in that emotional state, you encourage her to stay in that emotional state, well, guess what? She's then going to manifest a reality which reflects being in an energetic or emotional frequency of guilt and shame, meaning she'll manifest a reality that will then encourage her to have more feelings of guilt and shame. Remember, to whomever has, to him more will be given. You get more of whatever you focus on. I invite you to check out my video on how reality works. It explains it perfectly. Reality works very much like a social media algorithm. What's wrong, baby? You heard she said nothing. She just wants to be a part of the conversation. Daddy's talking to the camera, okay? All right, thank you, baby. You're being such a good girl. See, that's a perfect example. I could have responded in a more, I need you to be quiet. Daddy's working, da 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 da, creating feelings of negativity within her, which then naturally leads to her manifesting a reality where she has more feelings of that negativity. which looks like her doing what? Throwing a tantrum, whining, crying, which of course would then irritate me, causing me to then say something again. Do you understand? It's all a loop. It's all a feedback loop. Wherever you focus your energy, you're just going to get more of that. If you don't want something to persist in your experience of reality, don't feed into it. Don't feed into anything you don't want more of. If I then were to treat my wife in such a way to cause her to occupy feelings of shame, guilt, and the like, well, then she's going to manifest a reality that encourages her to have more feelings of shame, guilt, and the like, which naturally would include how we feel, our interactions. Naturally, it's going to manifest in a way where I will continue to make her feel guilt and shame. She's going to do things that will then result in me feeling like I need to chastise her even more, and thus she feels more feelings of guilt and shame. You always get more of what you already have. But it won't just stop there, because remember, the universe does not compartmentalize. Everything is just pure energy from the perspective of the universe, the eternal, God, however you would like to frame it. And so if I encourage feelings of guilt and shame and anger and frustration in my wife by the way I communicate with her, being harsh instead of gentle, being domineering and controlling instead of understanding and merciful and kind and patient, well, then she's going to manifest a reality where I am more likely to respond to her in that way, which would then include even something like my YouTube channels not performing as well. Because if my YouTube channels aren't performing as well, what? What is it, baby? What do you want? Huh? You want what? What do you want, baby? What? I can't, Daddy's driving, baby. I can't see it right now. But remember, if you're patient and quiet, Daddy will take you to the store. Okay? You want to go to the store? All right, so I need you to be patient and quiet, okay? Daddy's driving, so I can't really look behind me right now. Okay, all right. You see what I did there? I incentivized her compliance. Instead of punishing, I say, hey, you'd like to go to the store? We're going to the store right now. Okay, well then, I need you to be patient and quiet. And so, from her perspective, she's making the decision to comply so that she can get something that she wants. My wife manifests a reality where which includes, and this is just an example, something like my YouTube channel not performing as well, something like a malfunction with the car, something like an unexpected bill coming up. This then leads to me being more than likely more frustrated, which leads to me having a shorter temper, a shorter fuse, which then leads to me being more easily irritated and thus snapping on her, thus completing the loop, creating more feelings of frustration, anger, guilt, shame, whatever in my wife. This is the power of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. When you have people, especially the people that are closest in your life, when these people in your life, you encourage feelings of peace, Well, you have to imagine that if their peace and well-being in part is associated with you doing good in life, like you doing better in life makes their life better, well then when you encourage emotions that are in alignment with that, we're going to the store, baby. This is another thing. Remember, guys, she's 3 years old. And so she'll ask me a million times, even though I tell her, baby, we're going to the store. It's like she is worried that we're not going to go to the store. And so she's actively reminded me, you want to go to the store, baby? Okay, we're going to the store, okay? Daddy and Meadow go to the store? Yeah, children need repetition. This is also exactly for the same reason why it is unreasonable to punish a child for misbehaving in a way that you told them a million times. They just don't get it. They don't understand. I don't know what to call it. It's just they have baby brain. So, that's for my youngins who want to be parents one day, or for parents of young children. That's how I deal with my kids. It's how I've learned to deal with my kids, understanding the metaphysical principles of the universe. Now, let me create a different example, right? So I used to work in construction, right? Briefly, I took a break from YouTube and I worked in construction. And I had a boss, great guy. Well, my boss's peace and happiness and feelings of stability, of course, were in part contingent on the performance of the company, how much money we were making, which of course is dictated by the performance of the members on the team. So I go to work, let's say I go to work and I do more than the bare minimum. I give it my best effort. That then results in my boss having a good situation, right? Things being better for my boss, things looking better for my boss. Well, then that encourages him to be in a state of peace and relax because things are going well, because I'm working hard and doing my job to the best of my abilities. I am now seen as a valuable asset in his eyes. Well, then guess what? That makes me somebody that he doesn't want to let go easily. And so that then results in me getting a raise, being treated well. I call out sick. They don't make a big deal out of it. I encourage a state of peace in his life. My experience of reality is intertwined with his experience of reality because I'm his employee. Him being in a state of peace will then manifest a reality for me that will encourage me to do more things, manifest in a state of peace in his life. I'm just trying to help you to understand the feedback loop mechanism here, how it works. And in both of those situations, if we were to flip the table, I put myself in the shoes of my wife. If I did something to irritate my wife, how would I want her to treat me? Wouldn't I want her to address me in such a way where I don't have to feel bad afterwards? Wouldn't I want her to address the situation in such a way where she's not trying to make me feel guilty or frustrated or angry? That's what I would want done for me, right? Everybody wants to be treated as if they are the most important person in the world. That's really what everybody wants. because everyone is a manifestation of God. And so just ask yourself, how would I treat this person if they were the most important person in the world? Because that's how you want to be treated. And when you treat people the way they want to be treated, when you treat people in a way, ask yourself, and of course, now I'm not telling you to do this for every Bill, Joe, and Bob that you cross paths with. This is where the spiritual understanding comes into play. You do this for one random person on the street that you'll never interact with again. Yes, there is a butterfly effect that can occur that can then positively impact your life. And you also have to remember that you are also assuming a certain energetic state when you treat someone with kindness. So for instance, a homeless person might not be able to really impact your reality that much if you show them some kindness, the way how your wife will impact your reality if you encourage an energetic state of peace, happiness, relaxation, calmness, all of that, serenity. But if you are going to generously give to a homeless person, you have to be in an energetic state of abundance. And then, of course, having that state of abundance will then align you with a reality where you will have a lot, where you have enough money to give. So I'm not discounting. We're going to the store, baby. Okay, we're almost there. Okay? So I'm not discounting the importance of treating everyone well. But the most important people to apply this with are the people that are most intertwined with your experience of reality. Your family, your children, your wife, your girlfriend, your close friends, your coworkers, your boss. And so understand that you can exploit the effect that you are having on these people in a positive way. It's all going to benefit you because you now become a part of the mechanism that makes them feel good, feel the way they want to feel. And so they're incentivized to treat you in such a way that then encourages you to continue making them feel good. And they will help to manifest a reality where you are in a state where it's easy to help you continue making them feel good. I encourage a state of peace in my wife. My wife is in a state of peace. Her world is more at peace when I'm making more money. So without her visualizing, doing any affirmations, actively trying to manifest a world where I make more money, just by her being in that energetic state of peace, and you get more of what you already have, naturally I'm going to make more money. This is the significance, the spiritual significance behind the verse in the Bible that talks about, how can two walk together unless they agree, as well as there is power in a multitude of prayer. All prayer are people aligning their desires and intentions. But remember what Jesus says about prayer. He says, anything you ask for in prayer, believe that you have already received it and it will be yours. And so all that's talking about are multiple people committing to be in the same energetic frequency. So that, my friends, is how you get the people in your life to help to manifest your desired reality. You know, every month since I've started doing this, I've made 25 to 45% more than I did the previous month. And I started this in February. It is now June. My YouTube channels are growing faster and faster. I am trying, whilst I am trying less. See, before I understood how the universe worked, I was brute forcing reality. That is what most people do. That's what everyone does. They think if you want to make more money, you have to work harder. No. If you want to make more money, you need to align energetically with making more money. Yeah. All right. Well, my 3-year-old daughter has been incredibly patient. I don't know why, but children are irritated. They get irritated by things like this, not being a part of the conversation. You know, I could have been talking to my wife right now. If my wife was here, she would be in the back and she would start fussing and she would start babbling. They just want to be a part of the conversation. Anyway, she's done pretty well. So I'm just going to end the video here. I hope that helps.